Okay, so for your information, this our class today will be recorded for future reference and also for audit purpose. Right, so Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our class. I hope that you are in a very good health. I mean, you are still staying at your hometown, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. And as you can see my background now, it means that I am at the office. Currently, I am in Tambang campus for today. Okay, so this is the second day of coming back to the office for me after for like 6 months, I believe, right after 6 months. Okay, all right. So today we are going to continue with the lesson of what we are supposed to learn. Okay, and for your information, we are now in week two. Okay, we are now in week two. So I'm going to share the screen with all of you. Can you see my screen now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay, so we are now in week two. So in week two, we are going to have a look at planning a technical description. Okay, whereby we are going to have a look at the 9 steps of planning a technical description. So these are the crucial steps, and also these are the steps that you need to take into consideration when you are planning for a technical description. And then apart from that, in our first meeting as well, we're going to have a look at how to write a technical description. So we're going to have a look at the outline and how are you going to organize your writing for technical description. Okay, your writing for technical description, right? So what are the things that you need to put in your technical description when it comes to writing part will also be taught in this meeting. So in the second meeting of this week, we're going to have a look at the language use, okay? Language used in describing an object or product, whereby we're going to have a look at the parts of speech, okay, whether it is a noun, pronoun as such, okay? And then we're going to have a look at simple present, right? When you're describing a product, right? It's going to be a simple present because you are actually explaining about the current or recent product. And lastly, we are going to have a look at how you can use active voice when you are describing an object or a product. Okay, so basically, these are the things that we are going to learn for the second week of our entire 14 weeks of lesson. Okay, all right. So this is our Google Classroom. Okay, and then the first task that I have given to you is to introduce yourself. Okay, and as I can see over here, it is stated here only 4 turn in out of 26 actually, but plus another 8, so 12 have submitted their work. Okay, all right. So I haven't got the real chance to watch all of the presentation, not yet. Okay, I tell you why after this. Okay, and then the second task, which is what does it mean with technical communication. So 20 have submitted their work, okay? I mean, you have given your own opinion regarding technical communication or technical description or technical writing. So again, I haven't got a chance to really go through one by one of all of your opinions. So there is no right or wrong, but you are actually giving your opinion based on what you have read and based from your own understanding. Okay, so the reason why, okay, I haven't got the chance to read everything is because I am currently in the process of moving into my new house. Okay, so I have to pack things. So last weekend I was totally occupied with that thing. So hopefully within this week, okay, I can go through one by one regarding your responses to this question. What does it mean with technical communication? Okay, and then I will also give my time to read or go through your video. So the video that you have recorded. Okay, just to let you know about it. Okay, right. So if you go to Kalam, okay, if you go to Kalam in our second meeting, all right, So we are supposed to have these elements, okay? These are the things that we are supposed to learn. Planning a technical description, okay? Writing a technical description. And then there is an exercise for writing a technical description, which I'm going to talk about it later. But before we go into the new topic on, not a new topic, it's actually a subtopic of technical description. So let's have some recap of what you have learned last week. Okay, so this slide, you have taken it from Google Classroom and also from Kalam as well. Okay, I hope that you have gone through it, right? You know what you are supposed to do about technical description. Okay, so let's have a look at it. Okay, so basically we can say that a technical description means a detailed discussion of the physical details, okay, and quantifiable aspects of an object. So it means that when you are going to describe about a product technically, okay, you're going to talk about the physical details that include, okay, the color, the shape, the size and texture, okay, materials of construction and everything. So when you are going to do a technical description, you are actually talking about the physical details of a product, okay? So what you can see and what people cannot see need to be explained in detail. Okay, it means that when you are describing about it, okay, you have to mention or you have to elaborate everything about the product in detail. So you have to be specific. Okay, so if it is being produced using PVC or a plastic or a metal, so you have to mention it. Okay, so the same goes for quantifiable details over here, meaning that, all right, when you are these features, okay, when you are actually referring to the quantifiable details, you are looking at the product that can be counted. Okay, you are looking at the product that can be counted. Okay, you are actually looking for the product and the product that can be counted. So meaning that you can count how many products that you are going to present. So if it is a smartphone, then it is going to be one smartphone. Okay, so technical description involve, all right, two important aspects. One is physical details. Okay, you are going to describe about the product in detail. Okay, from the outer part to the inner part of it, and what is it made from? What are the features? Okay, and the size, dimension, and such. And then at the same time, you're going to explain how many product that you're going to share with your audiences. Okay, so let's say you have a large machine, so you are only going to explain about one machine altogether. Okay. Next, technical descriptions are commonly found, okay, in web pages, okay, sales brochures, reports, and manuals. Okay, reports, manuals, and articles in magazine. Okay, so why am I circling on sales brochures? Okay, I'm going to give one good example from my own experience. So last year, I bought a new laptop. Okay, so before buying the new laptop, I go through the web pages or the online sale brochures. Okay, and then I am looking at the specification of the laptop that I am going to buy. Okay, so I go to HP website, I go to Dell website, I go to even Apple website. With that budget that I have, okay, I am planning to buy a new laptop. So I am looking at all of the operating system, for example, okay, whether they are using Intel or whether they are using AMD, and then I am also looking at some other features being offered by each of the manufacturer. For example, what is the uh, capacity of the RAM, okay, and I found out that most of the laptops being offered, okay, they are offering the minimum of 4 gig of RAM, and then what are other things that I can do with the laptop. Okay, so all of the features. So these technical descriptions, you can find it in the web pages, sales brochures, and others. Okay, so I have done that last year. So from the reading, I decided to buy my new laptop. So that is how technical descriptions are going to help you when it comes to purchasing new things, or maybe you wanted to know more about a product. Okay, so that is one of the things that I can share with you based on my own experiences. Okay, and then when it comes to technical description, you are actually going or using the part by part approach. Okay, part by part approach. So what does it mean by part approach? So when you are explaining about a product, okay, for example, a laptop, a new laptop that you have bought, all right, you are going to go to part by part. For example, you're going to start with the screen or the monitor, and then you go to the keyboard, and maybe you go to the hardware after that. So that is called part by part approach. So when it involves technical description, this is the approach that you are going to use part by part. And if you have read about these slides as well before, okay, you are going to find out that there are certain things that can be classified into main parts, okay, and also sub parts. All right. So if the product that you're going to present, okay, is going to consist main parts or sub parts. Okay, and it is normal that sometimes when you have a product to be presented, okay, it consists only of the main parts but not the sub parts. Okay, so it is normal, don't worry about that. Okay, next. So we are now talking about the sources of description. So we have the purpose over here. So what is the purpose of the product? Okay, so when you are going to talk about the product, when you're going to describe about the product, you have to know what is the purpose of the product. Okay, so what is the size, what is the shape, the color, texture. Okay, when you are referring to, for example, a remote control, okay, so you can talk about the texture of the remote. Okay, you can also talk about the dimensions. Okay, what does it mean by dimensions? So the length, the height, the width, the depth, and such. Okay, and what are the materials used to produce the product? Okay, so let's say if you are talking about, if you are going to describe about an electric kettle, for example, okay, maybe the body part is being made using plastic, but the handle is made being using metal, okay, for example, or aluminium. Okay, so you need to be very specific. If your task, okay, is going to describe about that particular part, which is the handle, okay, so you are going to use different sources of description. And for your information, when you're going to describe about a product, okay, it doesn't mean that you're going to have all of these, what we call it, sources of description, and it depends on the product that you're going to present. Okay, if your product is something, consisting of many parts, okay, so some of the sources of description might not be applicable to the parts that you are going to present. Okay, another thing on methods of attachment, for example, some of the parts, okay, some of the main parts, it is being attached to the main or the whole body, okay, using glue. Okay, and some of the smaller parts are attached maybe using screw. So this is how it works when you are describing about a technical product or about a product. Okay, right. And then if you're going to talk about the orientation, okay, let's say if you're going to talk about the monitor of the laptop or monitor of the computer, okay, so behind or underneath the screen, what do you have? Okay, so maybe you're going to talk about the cables and also the ribbons that you have underneath the monitor. So you are going to explain that in detail as well. Okay, so for capacity, for volume and amount, okay, for example, you are planning to buy a water tank, okay, a new water tank. So maybe the capacity of the water tank is 1,000 liters. So you have to be specific, because when you are explaining about a product, okay, you have to be very detailed. Okay, so this is an example of a product, all right, being described. Okay, this is an example of product being described. All right, so as you can see, this is a stapler. Okay, it's very simple. This is a stapler. Okay, and as I have mentioned to you, when you are describing about a product, okay, using technical description, you are going to go with parts by part approach, okay, part by part approach, starting from handle until staples. So altogether, there are 9 main parts for a stapler. Okay, and when you are describing about it, as you can see at the bottom of the page, you have the handle, the hammer. Okay, this is the continuation. Okay, so this is how you're going to write the technical description. Okay, and please do not forget, when you are describing about a product, you need to have the graphic, because people will understand better if you have the graphic or the illustration. So let's skip this thing. I believe that you have done this. Okay, for this activity, what you can do is that to check whether you got the correct answer or not. But this is not, there's no right or wrong actually, because different model will have different kind of parts. Okay, so you can just Google this item, okay, TV remote, handphone, bicycle and such, okay, and then you may see that, okay, some of the model will consist different parts. Okay, maybe remote consists of more parts compared to the TV remote that you have in your house. Okay, for example, a bicycle. Okay, there are many types of bicycle. Okay, there are hybrid bike, road bike, okay, and mountain bikes, for example. Okay, even mountain bikes consist of two different bikes. Okay, there are full suspension, there are full hydraulics, and then hardtail. So three different types of it. So since that there are three different types of a bicycle, for example, for mountain bike, okay, so the parts might be different from each other. So there is no right or wrong when you're describing about this kind of product. It is based on your search or research regarding the product itself. Okay. Right. So we are going to skip this. Okay, we're going to skip this. Right, and then let's go to the next thing that you're supposed to learn, which is on planning a technical description. Okay, what does it mean by planning a technical description? Okay, so what does it mean by planning a technical description? We have the features here. So what do you need to consider when you're planning for a technical description? Okay, so there are 9 strategies to plan for an effective technical description. So starting from number 1 here, identifying the subject up until review and revise. Okay, so for number 1, you need to know what is the product that you are going to present. Okay, and for your information, all right, there will be a list of a banned product, meaning that, okay, you cannot use the product for the assessment. Okay, why? Because the products are too common and it has been in the market for quite some time. For example, a smartphone. Okay, so smartphone is something not new, right? It has been in the market for quite some time. So therefore, you are not allowed to present about the smartphone. Okay, and then at the same time, maybe you are not allowed to present about rice cooker because we don't have a new rice cooker except that the one existing in the market. Okay, so hopefully by today, okay, by the end of the day, or maybe within this week, okay, once it has been finalized, I can share with you the list of the banned products, and then you and your team, okay, maximum 3 in a group for the first assessment, assessment 1A and assessment 1B. Okay, so let's say 3 of you, or if you're working in pairs, okay, 2 of you, so you can start looking for the product, because before you go and explain about it in detail, okay, you need to get my consent, okay, my approval. So if I approve you to present about the product, then you can proceed. And plus, okay, for each section, I mean for your section 16G, none of the group or none of the pair will be doing the same product. No. All right. So let's say group number 1, you have chosen PS5, for example. So there will be no other groups in section 16G that will be doing the same product. No. Okay. So you need to identify what is the subject or the product that you're going to present. Okay. And then number two, define the purpose and audience for the description. Okay, so the highlight over here is on the word the purpose. Okay, what is the purpose? And then what is the or who will be your audience? Okay, right. Because for the purpose of the presentation or the description, it can be informative and it can also be persuasive. Okay, we're going to have a look at the detailed part about it later on. Okay, what does it mean by informative? What does it mean by persuasive, for example? Okay, and who will be your audiences? Okay, who will be your audiences? All right, and your audiences may be those with technical background and also maybe those without technical background. So they know technical jargon, some of them, and maybe some of them they didn't know about the technical jargon. So if you are describing about the product to them, make sure that you are describing it in the simplest way possible. Right? You want them to know about the product, you want them to understand about the product in the simplest way that you can. All right? And for your first assessment, I believe it is going to be the same as a previous semester, whereby you are going to be the representative of a company, and then you have a new product, okay, and you're going to showcase the product in an online exhibition. So you are going to have people coming to your booth asking about the product, and you're going to describe about the product. Okay, so that is on number two, strategy number two. Okay, and then number three is on research the object. What does it mean by research the object? So once you have gotten the product, once it is approved by me, so you need to find more about the product, more information about the product. So where to go to? Of course, the internet. Okay, or maybe if you have the product with you at home, then you can explain it more or better with your team members. Okay, so that is about researching the product or the object. And do not forget, for assessment 1A infographic, you need to come with your own image or graphics. Okay, you need to come with your own image or graphics. Okay, so since that you need to come for your graphics, where to get it? Of course, from the internet. And then you're going to take the image from the internet and put it inside your infographics, okay? And then you're going to label each part of the things that you're going to do. All right. Okay, so that is about number three, researching the object. Okay. Number four, identifying the parts and subparts. Okay, so if you're asking me, sir, right, if you're going to describe about a product, how many parts or subparts that we need to have? Okay, so in previous semesters, right, if you are working in a group of three, okay, if it is a group work, right, if it is a group work, okay, if it is a group work, so normally you're going to look at six parts or six main parts or subparts. If it is a pair work, okay, you're going to look at four main parts or subparts. Okay, so it means that, all right, each one of the presenter in the group or in pairs, you are going to explain about two main parts or subparts. Okay, so you need to identify it. And this is one of the reasons why you have to be very specific when you're looking at the product, because you need to make sure how many parts and subparts that you can get from the product. Because sometimes, okay, when you are giving me, okay, sir, can we present about this product? You can only find one part of it. Okay, one main part, right? Or maybe two maximum. But you are working in a group. So how are you going to explain about that? So please find an object or a product that consists at least six main parts so that it will be easier for you. Okay? All right, then number five, selecting the sources of description. So it depends on the product that you are going to present, and it also depends on the parts that you are going to present. Okay, so even though that you are working in group, all right, your sources of description might be the electric kettle might be different from your friend who is presenting about the heating element of the electric kettle. Okay, right. Next, number 6, okay, we are going to talk about using specific language. So using specific language, the keyword over here is the word specific. Why? When you're describing an object, remember that you need to be very detailed. So if you are explaining about a sports car, instead of saying in general that the car can go very fast, so you have to be specific by saying that you can drive the car up to 250 kilometer per hour. Okay, or the latest Perodua SUV. So instead of saying the latest Perodua SUV, then you can be very specific by naming the model. Okay, the latest Perodua SUV, which is Ativa. Okay, so you have to be very specific. Okay, number 7, plan and develop graphics. Okay, number 7, plan and develop graphics, whereby for infographic assessment 1A, you need to draw or you need to get the graphics that can support your presentation. Okay, and therefore you need to take the graphic or maybe the illustration or the diagram from other sources. Okay, and how to avoid plagiarism, okay, I will teach you on that day. All right, and then you need to label the graphics. Okay, you need to label the graphics, right? So don't forget that you are going to label the graphics. Okay, and then number 8, planning for a format. Okay, I'm going to show you the format afterwards. And lastly, step or strategy number 9 is to review and revise. Okay, review and revise. So what does it mean by reviewing the description? All right, once you have prepared your part, okay, what are you going to present or what are you going to describe? You need to look back at the contents, whether you got it correct, the spelling, okay, from grammatical mistakes and such. And then once you are satisfied, what I can suggest you, okay, you can give it to your other team members to have the second eye view of your description. Okay, so if there is any mistake or you need to do some correction, you need to revise your writing or description or presentation. So how to revise? Okay, if there is a spelling mistake or grammatical mistake, okay, you can redo it. Okay, or maybe somehow your points are not relevant at all. Then you can take out the point regarding the product. Okay, so that are the 9 strategies when you're planning for an effective technical description. Okay, so we are going to go into detail to each and every one of it. How are you going so far, class? Are you okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
All right.
sir.
sir.
I hope you're still there. I believe you have not taken your breakfast yet. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Still morning for
Perfect.
Liverpool.
Pity for Liverpool. Okay, right. So, number 1, identifying the subject or the object or the product. You have to be very clear of what you are going to describe. Okay, you have to be very clear of what you're going to describe. So, whether it is an object such as a stapler or a computer, or is it a product, okay, such as shoes or wallet, and then whether it is a software, programs, or applications. So, let's say if you're going to describe about a laptop, okay, a new laptop or a new computer, so you just need to describe about the computer itself. I mean, the casing, the monitor, the hardware, and you're not going to talk about the software and everything else. For example, the applications, because that will be the other type of product. So you are going to discuss only about the product itself, but not other things that comes together with the product. Okay, so for example, a computer or a laptop, so you're going to describe about only the laptop or the computer, but not about the software or the application that you can install inside the laptop, right? Okay, number 2, define the purpose and audience, okay, for the description. So do you want it to be informative or do you want it to be persuasive? So when it comes to informative, you are actually going to inform the audiences. Okay, you're going to inform the audiences. That is going to be your task. Okay, you are actually telling them what is the product that you're going to have in the market soon. So you are only asking them to know more about the product. That's it, not more than that. But for persuasive, it is a bit different because you are going to persuade. Okay, you're going to persuade the audiences to buy your product or to use your product. So if you're asking me which one is more difficult, persuasive is more difficult. Okay, believe me, persuasive is more difficult. For example, if you go to shopping mall and then you go to the concourse area, you have people selling their products. Okay, for example, blender. Okay, all right, so this is the latest blender. If you put in your smartphone, okay, it can also blend your smartphone. So meaning that the motor and the fan, the blade is very powerful, for example. So you watch the presentation from the beginning until the end. They do the demonstration to all of you. Then by the end of the presentation, you feel enlightened, okay, and then you feel interested to buy the product. So meaning that that seller is able to persuade you to buy the product or to use the product. Okay, so that is what it means by informative presentation or description or persuasive description. Okay, so question number two over here: what do you want from your audience? Meaning that you are actually referring to this thing. Okay, and then you need to consider who will be your audience. All right, whether they are the general public or the experts. So as I have told you, some of the audiences maybe they have a technical background knowledge about the product. So if you're going to talk or if you're going to use the technical jargon, they understand what is it about. But somehow there will also be people, okay, attending to your description or presentation, and they are just a general public, meaning that they don't have technical background knowledge about the product. So they are non-technical people. So the simplest way that you can do is to make sure that everyone understand when it comes to the presentation or the description of the product. So use the simplest words, use the simplest way of presenting to the audiences. Okay, that is going to be point number two or strategy number two. Okay, strategy number three, research the object. So do some background research. Okay, do some background research about the object on the internet to enable you to understand the subject matter better. Okay, so let's say if you're going to work in a group, right, one of your team members, he or she does not understand or no idea about the product that you are going to describe to the audiences. So you can explain to them, and at the same time, you can also search about the product and explain to your partner regarding the product. Okay, then once you got the prior knowledge, you know about the product in detail, you can move to the next stage, which is describing it to the rest of the audiences. Number four, identify the parts and subparts. Okay, for example, here, if you're going to describe about a computer, right, it may be, okay, it may be consists of several main parts. For example, the monitor, okay, the keyboard, the external disk drives, and also the central processing unit. So there are four main parts of a computer, for example. Okay, if you're going to describe about a simple wooden pencil, so you can put it into several parts. For example, the lead, okay, part number one, the wooden ferrule, okay, part number two, the eraser, part number three, and then the metal clip, okay, metal clip, which is going to be the fourth part of the wooden pencil. So this is what I am telling you. When you are going to choose a product, please make sure that you can find at least six main parts, okay, of the product, or maybe six main parts or subparts of the product, so that it will be easier for you if you're going to work in a group or in a pair. Okay. Right, next, select the sources of description. So we have talked about this, okay, previously in our previous slide. So description for the part so use specific language terms as I have told you. Okay, instead of saying that the car can go very fast, all right, you're going to explain about it in detail that the car can be driven up to 250 kilometers per hour. So you have to be very specific. Okay, plan and develop graphics, all right? So if you're going to describe about a product, make sure that you can find this kind of diagram. Okay, because why? You need to label, okay, each part of the product so that people can know what does it mean by crimper. Where is crimper, for instance, okay? Where is the rivet? Okay, where is the carrier in a stapler? All right, so find a product that you have the picture of the product, meaning that it is going to be something in the market, okay? It is not a prototype. People have been using it recently, okay? And then you're going to put it in your assessment 1A, for example, all right? And then you're going to label all of the products, okay? So let's say this is the image, all right? And then you can draw the arrow, okay, to describe each of the main parts or the subparts. Okay, for example. Right, so that is the meaning of planning and developing your graphics. Okay, right, this is the format of writing a technical description. All right, I'm going to show the detailed version after this. Okay, and then this is what it means by review and revise. And I have also explained about this thing before this. Okay, so that's all from me on the slides. Okay, any question, class? Class, do you have any question?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Okay, do you understand what does it mean by planning a description?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So now I'm going to share with you my screen again. Okay, and then let's have a look at planning for or writing for a technical description. So this one, you can get it from Kalam. You can click this PDF file, okay, writing a technical description. So as you can see over here, all right, this is how you can organize your description, starting from the title, okay, all right, and then you have the introduction. So the title here is going to be the name of the product that you are going to present. Okay, right, the introduction is over here, and then description of main parts and subparts, okay, if any here, meaning that if you don't have the subparts, no problem, okay. And then you're going to divide or delegate or arrange your points like this, okay. And this is the example of the technical description, okay. So the title is workhorse flashlight. Then you have the introduction, okay, and you are going to include the graphic in the technical description so that people will have a clearer image of what is the product that you are describing to them. Okay, then you're going to describe about the main parts and the subparts, right? For example, the body of the flashlight, the battery compartment, the switch, okay, and it goes to the second main part, the bulb assembly. Where is the bulb? Okay, this is the bulb assembly, right? And then you have the reflector. Okay, where's the reflector? Okay, and then you have the bulb itself. Okay, where's the bulb? Right, and then lastly you have the connector. Okay, where's the connector? This is the connector. All right. So basically, when it comes to technical description, writing a technical description, you're going to include this kind of images whereby you're going to cut it open. Okay, you are going to have the images being cut into open like this. then it's going to be easier for you to describe for each of the part in the product. Okay, so you can get this in Kalam, okay, and then click this link, okay, writing a technical description. All right, okay. Your task for today, your activity for today, is that you have another hour to go, okay, and this is going to be a group work or a pair work, okay, depending on the names that you have given, right? If you have mentioned, right, that you have put your name into a group or a pair, so this is going to be the beginning of your task, meaning that, okay, you can check, okay, you can use this activity to check whether your group members are working well with you. I mean that you can work with them or not. Okay, so in your group, write a one-page technical description, only one page, okay, of one of the objects below. Okay, you choose, there are 10 products over here, choose only one, okay. Use the technical description outline and include graphics to illustrate the object. Okay, so let's say you choose Panasonic hair dryer. Okay, so you're going to have the title, and then you're going to have the introduction, and then you're going to put the graphic, okay, in general. And then when it comes to explanation for each of the part, so you're going to put it like this, okay. When you're going to describe about the main parts and the sub parts, okay, you're going to put it like this. Where to get this information? From the internet. Okay, so once you have completed for this activity, you save it in PDF form. Okay, you save it in PDF form, and then if you go to Google Classroom, okay, under week 2, this is week 2, you have here the activity writing a technical description. So each group or each pair, you are required to submit only one work. Okay, so this is like a premonition of what you're going to do for your first assessment. Okay, so this activity is directing to you to the first assessment. Okay, assessment 1A, which is on preparing the infographic. So you need to find the image, and then you need to find the cut-off part of the image. Then you can explain about or label about the product, and then the presentation itself. Okay, for assessment 1B, you are going to discuss about the product. Okay, so given here again, there are 10 products. So you just need to choose one out of 10, okay, and then you describe about it. Okay. Okay, class?
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Okay, sir.
Right.
so,
Any question?
so do we have to have 6 parts or subparts for that, or just as many as we can?
Okay, depending on the product. If you can get 6 main parts or subparts of the product, then it will be easier. But you don't have to worry because this is like a warm-up activity before you go to the real assessment. Remember, in week 3 next week, okay, in week 3 next week, in the first meeting, I'm going to give the briefing on assessment 1. Okay, I'm going to give you the briefing on assessment 1. So next week, you're going to have the clearer picture of what you're going to do for your first assessment. So this is going to be a warm-up activity for all of you so that you will know of what you're going to do. Okay, so do not worry about the main parts. Okay, if you couldn't get 6, okay, at least don't worry about it. Okay, this is just a warm-up activity so that you will know when it comes to the real assessment, what are you supposed to do.
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Ms. Wallen. How about the others? Any other question? Any other question, class? Okay, right. Before we end our session, I would like to check the attendance for today. So as usual, if I call upon your name, please reply by saying yes if your name is being mentioned. Okay, if your name is not being mentioned, okay, in the chat box in our what do you call it, Google Meet session, okay, in the chat box, please type your full name and your ID number. Okay, if your name is not being mentioned, please type your full name and your ID number in the chat box in our Google Meet session. Okay, So Muhammad Fikri, are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Nur Iman Zul Hakim? Nur Iman Zul Hakim, are you here? Okay, so let me copy and paste the name first. Right. Shamim, are you here? Shamim bin Jamil, are you here? You are not here yet. Let me copy and paste the name first. Okay, how about Manju? Manju Balashini?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ramiza?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Aswalan, you are here.
Yes, sir.
Divian?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Siti Iliana?
Yes, sir.
All right, Kevin? Kevin? Are you here? Right, let me copy.
It's easier, sir. You put in the chat.
Oh, okay, right. Kevin, you are there. Right, Muhammad Haikal? Muhammad Haikal? Muhammad Haikal Firdaus, you are not here. So let me copy and paste the name first. Okay, how about Saya? Saya Day Cruz?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Govind Raj?
Yes, sir.
Alisa Safinas?
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Haziq Hakimi?
Yes, sir.
Rishan Tiran? Rishan Tiran, are
Yes,
you
sir.
here?
Present.
Muhammad Khairul Aiman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Natalie?
Yes, sir.
Wanul Adibah, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Muhammad Ashraf Qayyum?
Saya, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Right. Right. Muhammad Yusuf? Muhammad Yusuf bin Zamri? Okay, let me copy and paste the name first. Putri Nur Ainul Sofwa?
Yes, sir.
All right. Muhammad Mualim? I saw the name.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Mualim? Muhammad Mualim, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Fikri Shamil?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. Nur Shafawati?
Yes, sir.
I saw your name. Okay. No Ashikin?
Yes, sir.
All right. No Ashikin, you used to be in my class before?
Yes.
All right. No Shafika? Binti Sulaiman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tan Zengji? Tan Zengji, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here, doctor.
All right. Okay. Ling Chung King, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. If I didn't mention your name, just go to the chat box, okay, and then type your full name and your ID number. All right. Okay. Oh, sorry, Mualim. I didn't read your message. Okay. Your microphone is not working. Right. So I believe that's all from me. Okay. Thank you very much for joining our morning class. Okay. I will let you know about the second meeting this week. And most probably, I need you to do the activity and then to continue reading regarding the language used in writing for technical description. Okay, but I will let you know in our WhatsApp group. So if you have any other question regarding the class and also the lesson, please let me know about it. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you very much, everyone. You can leave the session and enjoy your early breakfast. And do not forget to do the activity that I have given to you. Okay? All right.